name is Robert Folds. I'm founder of Vitiva Pharmaceuticals. We are a startup, early stage drug development company. We are focused on improving the long-term management of gynecologic tumors. CTA has two huge impacts on really helping us within the Boston and Cambridge communities. The first of which is providing us with a home, a place to set up and operate out of through the Cambridge Innovation Center. The goal is to identify one serious institutional investor.
I'm Christine Sarkeesian, the co-manager of the Canadian Technology Accelerator in Boston. I'm also a trade commissioner here at the Consulate General of Canada in Boston and work with life science companies who are in the biotech and the medtech space.
I'm a Canadian and I've been living in the States for 17 years now, working in the pharmaceutical industry, and so to come onto a project like Rob's and Vitiva's is a really good fit for me. It's one where I'm able to bring to Rob a little bit of my experience.
Rob is here from Toronto. He arrived this week and we were able to pull together his mentoring team with a lead mentor and another mentor, and I sat in on that as well to look at what his goals are for his CTA residency and what he needs from us in order to achieve those goals.
Part of the reason why this one evolved was more from trying a high impact pitch that people tried to say, you go right into the problem, you know, get people's attention.
Totally support that.
And so by not having that exact summary is good when you send it out, right? But sometimes for some audiences, it's to grab their attention, then they kind of lose that attention by...
And you can talk in more detail with your pitch coach about this.
I think that point I can do it. I've had it before, I just need to bring it back. And so again, it's context. There is a stake for these organizations to ensure we get financed, and we can always go back and nail out some terms.
I think he's feeling pretty positive about it, and certainly the feedback that we gave him was largely positive. The main barriers, I think, are that getting from his initial stage now, which is preclinical, all the way through to the exit stage, which would be once they have proved the concept of his drug in a phase 2 clinical trial.
We are rapidly advancing our lead drug candidate towards starting clinical trials. And once we are in that position, actually we're about 12 months away, we require a greater amount of financial resources. And so the biggest pain point is really to be able to attract institutional investors and larger financing rounds to be able to finish preclinical development, file the regulatory submissions, to be able to start human clinical trials.
Going forward in your R&D plans to try to get more data to make an even stronger case for investors to invest in your company and maybe for partners to partner with you.
Now in our case, I think we've managed a lot of that. So in terms of projects that are moving forward, we actually have a really good cost benefit in terms of we think we can achieve some really good human efficacy and safety studies for actually a pretty low amount, relatively speaking.
You just mentioned clinical trials. There's a person who I'd like to introduce you to who happens to be at the Cambridge Innovation Center, right near where the CTA is, who would probably be a very good person for you to connect with regarding how you're going to design that clinical trial before you get to that point.
We also got some good data on oral efficacy of our lead drug candidate in an animal model.
It really supports the underlying product proposition and then it possibly opens up another clinical and marketing development strategy as well.
You know, I'm working with a couple of consultants and experts around chemistry and formulation and our plans as we move forward. Once I get an initial framework from those experts, I would like to run those ideas by you and get your input on that. And regarding that animal data that we just talked about earlier, I have some questions and still some gaps in the information that I've received, so I'm waiting for some feedback from the investigator. And as soon as I get that and I get the complete picture around that data package, I'd like to run that by you. If there's any other ideas of studies that need to be done to really strengthen that, that'd be good.
As you move a pharmaceutical project along in time, the costs rise more or less exponentially. In his case, he needs to raise money to keep going, and he really needs to focus on raising that money. And I think that he has a good chance of being successful at that.
He took all the advice that his mentors gave and that we gave and took advantage of all the many connections that he could make while he was here. He was a good example of a company that was able to get to their next inflection point by participating in the CTA. When his drug gets on the market, if his drug gets on the market, it's going to help a lot of people. I have high hopes for Vitiva.
I have to say I'm extremely happy with what we've been able to achieve in terms of our progress. The kinds of people that I've been able to meet with during this time period have been extremely valuable. I wouldn't have even known existed. I have had some good meetings with some venture capital groups. They've given us some very good feedback to help to refine our strategy. Our direction, our plans have been quite well received. Not being here in Boston, I just would not have been able to have these meetings as a starting point. Certainly not within this time frame. It would have taken me a lot longer period of courtship, if ever, to get to the point of a face-to-face meeting. Just being associated with the CTA program in general really provide that veritas for us as a company to be able to very rapidly get access to very high quality investment groups.